Hello. Now, we are a nation of property lovers and we love to invest in bricks and mortar to live in, to rent out or to sell on, hopefully at a profit.
Yes, but with such a wide range of properties available, how do you go about getting yourself a bargain? Well, one way you could do that is by going to the auctions. Well, buying at auction can be straightforward. You could be the legal owner within weeks, but it's really important to do your homework.
Yep, let's have a look and see what today's bidders decided to buy at auction.
On today's show, this developer in Wales is ready to get stuck in.
So how do you feel about this venture, then? Bring it on.
Are this couple in Kent stuck with their lodger?
He came to dog sit for us a year ago. We've still got him.
He's living at home with you guys.
Yeah.
And could budgets be a sticky issue for this couple in Stoke?
What are you factoring in that hubby isn't?
Nothing, exactly the same, but I'm just giving a little bit more leeway for each.
All of these properties have been sold at auction. We'll find out who bought them and what they paid for them when they went under the hammer.
Your lot, madam.
This picturesque little village is Cummer, 10 miles outside Port Talbot in West Glamorgan, Wales.
Well, this used to be a heavily industrialised mining area, but since the mines closed, the hills and valleys have returned to their natural splendour. The locals call this Little Switzerland. Let's hope the hills are alive with the sound of the auction hammer. Oh, and before you write in, I do know that The Sound of Music was based in Austria.
Well, whether you think it looks like Switzerland, Austria or just good old Wales, this beautiful scenery is certainly proving a hit with tourists. Its hills and valleys attracting cyclists and mountain bikers from all over Europe.
Well, I'm here to see a property not up in the hills, but on this ex-local authority housing estate. 3 bedrooms, semi-detached, built in the 1950s. Guide price £30,000. Yes, you heard me right. Looks pretty good from the outside. In we go. Oh, lovely open entrance area. That gives a really nice feel the moment you walk through the door. So stairs up to the bedrooms and bathroom there. This area here leading through to the kitchen and then sidle this way to a really nice sized lounge. It's dual aspect, so you've got lovely views out of the hills that way, although you can't quite see them today because it's a bit misty. Nice garden towards the back. Yeah, a very, very livable space. Ready for that guide price. It's ticking all the boxes.
So far, this is looking like an ideal candidate for development. OK, so the decor's dated and the kitchen would need replacing. But with the space here and that low guide price, there really is a great opportunity here to add value. And with the large front garden, you may even be able to add off-street parking. Bonus!
So upstairs and your 3 bedrooms, a separate bathroom and loo. The age-old question, do you knock them into one? Well, if you don't, you keep them like that. One thing you might want to consider is putting a small hand basin in the loo itself. One thing you do notice when you're up here, though, is these polystyrene tiles. Yuck, 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 yuck. They're a fire hazard, they're dreadful, horrible things. Just get rid of them. The only issue is when you do that, you might end up with something like that. As you can see, a lot of damp. That said, at least by taking them off, you've actually revealed it. And so you can see there's a problem. That's really nasty, and my guess is it's leaking pipework up in the attics. So that definitely needs to be sorted out. But in all, lots of space. It just continues to be, yeah, a very livable house.
Now, don't get me wrong, those tiles and the damp are serious problems, but equally they can be fixed. The crucial thing is these are good-sized, solid rooms, and let's not forget there's a cracking garden out the back. With a bit of work, this could make a great family home.
So it's all pretty tickety-boo, but there is a but. Well, it's a sort of possible but, and you know what I mean in a second. A lot of the houses of this age in certain areas were built of what they call non-standard construction, concrete blocks, which over time have issues, which makes properties unmortgageable. And there's various things you can look out for other than the general thing of where they are and the kind of houses that are all around. Things like this, surface-mounted pipes and cables. Why? Well, if it's concrete, it's really difficult to actually get these things buried into them. So that's something you could look out for. Look at the thickness of this reveal here, and can you hear that? It's kind of hollow. That's because it could be that this was a non-standard construction house, which has since been rectified by having this skim of bricks on the outside. In fact, given that it's had that, this whole bit of chatter is irrelevant because it's been sorted out. But it's good to know, because if it was just non-standard construction which hadn't been sorted, you wouldn't be able to get a mortgage. But it has been sorted, so you can get a mortgage. Was there any point in all that? Well, you know a bit more than you did.
And now you know this, learn to do your research as well. Even with a brick skin, some lenders might still refuse a mortgage for non-standard construction, especially if you have the brick skin but your neighbours don't. Does a local estate agent agree?
It looks as if it's a non-traditional construction, prefab construction that's had the red bricks on the outside.
It can be more difficult to get a mortgage on this kind of construction, so is a guide price of £30,000 for this 3-bed semi-detached house still sounding like a good deal?
Should the property be placed on the market, then I would recommend an asking price of £64,950. Once this property has been refurbished, then I would recommend that we ask £400 per calendar month.
Well, it's a lovely location and a lot of house for the money. Let's see who was tempted by it when it went under the hammer.
Lot number 56, a 3-bedroom semi-detached house, guided at 30,000. We start with 30,000, somebody, or 25 just to get it started. Thank you, 25, always the way, 25, 26, madam, 26, 7, 28, 29, 29 there, 30, 31, 31 no, 30,000 I'm with you. At 30,000, one or half if you like, no. At 30,000 I'm with you for the first time. At £30,000 and 31, thank you, 32, 33, 33 no, 32 and a half, it helps you. At 32,000 and back where we were a short while ago, at 32,000 for the first time, second time, third and last time, £32,000. Well done, madam, sir. I like a bit of excitement and a few smiles.
Yes, we all like a bit of excitement, and Lynn, who got the property for £32,000, certainly was. Lynn and her friend Colin came along to tell me about their first auction purchase.
Lynn, Colin, great to meet you both.
Nice to meet you too.
Lovely to meet you, Martin.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell me why you wanted to buy this place.
Well, we're both retired, and really we wanted something to work on together. And this is the first one I've bought.
Right.
And we're looking forward to the project, really.
Right. Retired from what? What was your previous careers?
Well, I was in the aircraft industry for 47 years. I retired a year and a half ago.
Wow.
And I was a primary school teacher for 34 years.
Wow.
And during the last year, I did have an injury to my back and neck. And while I was off, I watched Holmes and the Hammer, which inspired me, and thought, I can have a go at it.
Right, so we've some way
Yeah.
guided you to where you are now.
Definitely, yes.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
And why this property, then?
Well, we saw many before the auction in the normal way of buying them, and everything had a problem. And, you know, from fleas to fleas to all sorts, and this one didn't have it. So we thought we'd go and bid for it.
No fleas.
No fleas.
That's a big tick in the box.
It was, definitely.
Tick in the box. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Bad, even by my standards. So how was the auction?
Oh, very exciting. I really enjoyed it. I did the bidding for Colin, and he told me in the car going down that we could bid up to 40 and we got it for 32, so
Wow.
well done.
I mean, it's a lot of house for the money, isn't it?
It is, yeah, we were really pleased with it.
Lynn and Colin sound pretty pleased. They've found a flea-free property. But there might be a fly in the ointment, so to speak, with regards to that non-standard construction issue. Were they aware of that?
Well, we weren't aware of it. There was nothing in the legal pack, and it has previously been mortgaged.
Well, that's a
So,
good
yeah.
indicator. If it was in the past anyway, it looks like it's had the brick skimming, so I think all issues would be resolved with that, wouldn't they?
Yes, hopefully.
Only a survey could give a definitive answer on the state of the construction, but it certainly seems that there isn't an issue. Colin set them up as a company so they could undertake projects together, and I'm so pleased they were inspired by Homes Under the Hammer, and also that they were inspired to read the legal pack. You have to go to the top of the class, Lynn. So, what are the plans?
I think we're going to strip all the wallpaper off, all the polystyrene tiles off the ceilings, skirting boards off. We're going to replace the bathroom, the kitchen, laminate floor throughout on the ground floor, carpets upstairs, obviously repaint, reskin the walls if necessary.
Right.
And hopefully it should look very nice when it's finished.
And how much work are you going to do yourselves?
None.
Very little. Project management, which Lynn's going to help with, and sourcing materials and things like that.
So we got some builders lined up to do the work, and starting tomorrow.
Oh, gosh. Wow.
And we're looking forward to letting them get on with it.
Are they builders you've used before, or you
Well, I
recommended?
got them off a website, but I've taken up references and seen some of the work they've done, so fingers crossed.
Lynn's done all the right research here, and she's got a quote for £15,000. Now remember, there is a big difference between a quote and an estimate. A quote, or a fixed estimate, is a promise to do work at an agreed price, with all the details of what work is included. However, an estimate is just a guesstimate. Colin will be looking after the finances and the paperwork, while Lynn will be sourcing materials.
Part of my role was to choose the kitchen and bathroom and get the cheapest prices, and but it's all been done very relaxed. A nice cup of coffee and a brochure, you know. So I've really enjoyed it.
Coffee and brochures? I think I like the sound of that job, Lynn.
Is the idea that this is an income generator, or is it something to supplement your pensions, or what?
We're really intending to sell it once we've renovated. Depending on how quickly it sells or doesn't sell, obviously we will consider renting as well.
So what's the timescale?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Oh, wow. So how do you feel about this venture then, this move from, you know, previous lives to where you are now?
Bring it on. I'm really excited, yes, yeah, very excited.
Well, listen, congratulations. Good luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's lovely to hear that Lynn and Colin were inspired by Homes Under the Hammer, quite right too. And they followed our advice. They saw the property, they bought it at a good price, and they've got a budget sorted out and a builder they've checked out too. How will they get on with their first renovation and property development project? You can find out later in the show.
The Isle of Sheppey lies off the north coast of Kent, and I'm in a coastal village on the east side.
Laysdown-on-Sea is very much a traditional small seaside resort. You've got lovely beaches and lots of family-orientated amusement arcades. And even on a day like today, I do like to be beside the seaside. Honest.
Well, it wouldn't be the British seaside if it wasn't chucking it down, now would it? It may be the off-season just now, but in the summer sunshine, Laysdown-on-Sea is still a popular destination for British holiday makers.
The property I'm here to see today is quite unusual. Now, it's a purpose-built, two-bed maisonette, and it was originally designed for use as a holiday home. And, dunno, this is it. Let's be honest, it's no cutesy-wootsy little seaside cottage, that's for sure, but what it lacks in looks, well, it certainly makes up for in location. It really is. Just steps away from the sea and the beach, it is there. Let's go inside and have a little look around.
And this had a guide price of 25 to 30 grand.
Oh, why do I always end up filming right next to the beach on a rainy day? It's just not fair. So here we are. We've got a nice big space here. Kitchen at the back of the property. That will need to be completely refurbished, maybe painted or even changed. Now, I know there's no gas central heating in here. You've currently got these heaters. That's probably because there's no gas anywhere around here. You've got new windows. They've been installed, so that's a bonus. At the front of the property, we've got two not bad-sized bedrooms. And I'm guessing, actually, that the kitchen might have been in one of these bedrooms because there are the same tiles on the wall. You've got another good-sized double at the back here and a shower room with a stand-up shower cubicle. I think you could potentially squeeze a bath in there with an overhead shower. I think that might work better. You've got some wiring externally here. You've got strip lighting up there. So there are lots of things you can do to tweak this little property to try and get the most out of it. And I think for about £5 grand, you could do a great job here. And don't forget, there's the beach. It's the seaside.
The amount of work here isn't scary, apart from some dodgy-looking electrics. It looks mostly cosmetic, and there is that very attractive guide price of 25 to 30 grand. You know, I think this could tempt me to be beside the seaside.
There is a house by the sea. The jealous sisters, they're waiting for me.
This is a leasehold property, which means someone else owns the freehold.
Now, one issue with this maisonette is the lease. Now, there's a restrictive clause. You're only allowed to occupy this property for 50 weeks of the year, not 52, just 50. And that's because these properties were originally meant to be used exclusively for holiday use. Now, that limitation has now been lifted, but you're left with having to leave here for 2 weeks of every year. A bit inconvenient, but not that much of a big deal.
As long as you don't mind finding a hideaway or going on holiday for 2 weeks, which is hardly a hardship, then that's not so bad, is it? But there is another thing to consider with a leasehold property. You're not in control of the maintenance of the building or the surrounding grounds. The freeholder is. It'd be a good idea to see if there are plans to do any work, have a word with the neighbours and find out if there's a big maintenance bill coming up that will need to be split between all the leaseholders.
Now, a bigger problem is that the lease on this property is now quite short and there's only about 62 years left, which means mortgage companies are not going to be keen on lending on a property like this. You're going to have to put money aside to pay for a lease extension as well. So generally speaking, the shorter the lease, the more expensive it gets to extend it. That's worth bearing in mind.
So there are some legal and lease issues that could cause choppy waters. But no one ever said developing property was plain sailing. So we've asked along a local property expert to see if this maisonette is worth a punt.
The 50-week-a-year occupation here is not too much of a problem. People that want to live here full-time can just go away for a couple of weeks and stay with friends, family or go abroad. So it's not a major issue. I don't believe it will put investors off buying this property, that it has the shorter lease, because I think it is the good price properties and they are good investments because the rental return is very good.
What could an owner expect to get if they were to let this property, guided at 25 to 30,000?
It would achieve around £500 to £550 per calendar month, depending on the quality of the renovation.
We also spoke to a local holiday lettings agent, and he thought that the property could rent for £380 per week during the height of the summer season. But what about a sales value?
When renovated, this property would be valued at around £50,000 to £55,000.
That's without the lease extension, so how much might it cost to extend it?
You may be looking at around £15,000 to £20,000 to extend the lease here.
Well, it's not the prettiest, but on a summer's day, this seaside location would be great. There are a few issues here with the short lease and the 50-week restriction, but when the sun does shine, what could be nicer? Let's find out who bought this when we head to auction.
Ground floor flat, it's in need of improvement. Do I see 25 anywhere? 25, 25, 27, 30, 33, 35, 35 and a half, 36. So one if it helps, 36. 35 and a half thousand pounds we've got. 36. Coming back in, no. 36 and a half. Back of the room, you've got 36 and a half thousand pounds. I shall sell then at 36 and a half. 36 and a half for the first time. 36 and a half for the second time. 36 and a half for the third and final time. Sold, sir, 36 and a half thousand.
The successful bid of £36,500 came from Trevor. Trevor and partner Janet live in Kent. He's retired, but he's bought and sold property for nearly 50 years and still has a small portfolio of lets. I met up with them to see what they had in store for this seaside sanctuary.
Trevor and Janet, congratulations.
Thank you.
Why did you want to buy this?
Well, basically it was for somewhere for Janet's son to live, because he came to dog sit for us a year ago.
We still got him.
2 weeks and we've still got him.
You've still got him. He's living at home with you guys.
Yeah.
So, Janet, you've obviously been looking somewhere for your son.
Yeah.
Does this tick all the boxes for him? And why do you think this kind of place is suitable?
He's separated and he's got 2 teenage children. So with the 2 bedrooms, they can come down and visit. And he's got a dog. So he wanted a ground floor flat somewhere. And there's lots of greenery and everything out here for him, and the beach. So him and the dog can have nice long walks. He's got medical problems, so he's not working, but he won't be short of visitors when the summer comes, because he's got a brother and a sister. They've both got children. So I think he'll be swamped somewhat in this little tiny flat.
Maybe not so much in the winter,
No.
but in the summer everybody will want to visit.
Jay will have time to kill for 2 weeks every year, but maybe he could reprise his dog-sitting role for Trevor and Janet. So no worries with the restriction, but there is that short lease.
Now, guys, let's talk about the lease again, because obviously currently it's not a full 99-year lease. How much do you think it's going to cost for that lease extension?
Between £10,000 and £20,000 if you want to extend it for another 25 years.
Janet, do you think that's something your son will want to do straight away?
No. As we've said, we'll be dead before the lease is up, and possibly Jay will as well, because he's in his 30s, so we can't see that, that we're going to need to do it.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Well, I suppose that's one way to think about it. So if they're not paying to extend the lease, what sort of budget do the couple think they'll need to redevelop the property?
Basically, it's not going to cost a fortune. As you can see, it's not huge. So probably £3,500–4,000 pounds is all it's going to need.
Plumbing and electrics?
The electrics we need to look at because there's been bits and pieces cobbled on over the years that the property has been occupied, which leave me feeling cold because they look pretty horrendous, where you've got points spurred off of other points.
Now, you sound like a man that knows what they're talking about. Are you involved in renovation, decoration, property development in any way at all?
Yes, I have been. I've always been interested in doing up properties, ever since the first property I bought when I was sort of 21. I've always looked for something that's got potential that you can do something with to make it worth that bit more. I used to convert houses in South London into flats, the terrace properties that you go round and get worked up about, all the period features.
Because I love period features,
So
and there
do
are
I.
none in this property
So do
today.
I.
I'm very upset.
No, I know, unfortunately. But no, I love period features, and I always used to try and keep them in.
How long do you think it's going to take to get the place renovated?
Month, 6 weeks.
Month, 6 weeks. Yeah, it just depends upon the amount of days we can get down here. because what with grandchildren, babysitting, our time is now a bit more restricted than it was when we...
And Jay's not very good at getting up early.
Oops. Right, well, that's got to change.
Yes.
Guys, congratulations, and I really hope Jay is happy here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lucy.
Trevor and Janet have renovated properties in the past, but this time it will all be for Janet's son, Jay.
So will they all be able to make this the perfect seaside home for him, or will there be problems ahead? You can find out how they get on later in the programme.
Coming up, there's a surprise for me in this terrace in Stoke.
What is that? That's not something you see every day in the lounge.
And in Kent, there are more surprises.
When we took the kitchen out, found a maze of wiring behind with bits cobbled on here and there.
Welcome back to Cummer near Port Talbot, otherwise known as Little Switzerland. I was looking at this ex-local authority 3-bed semi. It had some terrible polystyrene tiles and a little dodgy damp, but it also had a guide price of £30,000. It was of non-standard construction, but even that had been rectified with a new brick skin. This looked interesting. I just loved Lynn and Colin's excitement at the auction. They've set up a company together, and it appeared Homes Under the Hammer had a hand in it.
I was a primary school teacher for 34 years. Wow. And during the last year, I did have an injury to my back and neck, and while I was off, I watched Homes Under the Hammer, which inspired me, and thought, I can have a go at it.
Right, so we've some way guided you to where you are now.
Definitely, yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Lucy and I love to hear of people being inspired by the series. A passion for property is very exciting, and it looks like they've done their homework, reading the legal pack, doing research on their builders, and getting a quote of £15,000 for the work and a timescale of 6 weeks. And yes, they were still excited.
So how do you feel about this venture then, this move from, you know, previous lives to where you are now?
Bring it on. I'm really excited, yes, yeah, very excited.
Bring it on, she says. Well, just over 6 weeks later, we're back.
Bring it on, tell your friends to come along. Raise your hands to the sound, lose your mind and jump around. It won't be long, so bring it on.
Well, it's looking very smart indeed. Lynn and Colin have had their builders transform this tired semi. If you recall, Lynn had found them on the web, but had checked them out thoroughly. So how did it turn out?
They've been marvellous, absolutely an amazing team. And I said to them, you know, at the start, please don't bring us issues, just solutions. And they've done just that. So it's been a really lovely project to do. Yeah, well, we said 6 weeks from the start, and it's been about 6 weeks and a day, so very good. They've worked to schedule. Clock's been ticking. We knew you were coming back, and they've been very good working to the time schedule.
I won't let you down, no, I won't let you down. I won't let you down, my love.
It just goes to show that good research pays off, especially when you think you're trusting the builder not only with a budget, but with your whole investment. Pick your tradesman carefully and don't just go on price. I'm glad to see those awful polystyrene tiles have gone, and so has the damp that was behind them. However, that wasn't entirely straightforward as it turned out. When the polystyrene tiles came down, so did the ceilings. So those ceilings all had to be replaced, an unforeseen cost, which meant they had to give up the idea of putting in off-street parking. Some asbestos had to be safely removed from the outhouse too. Lynn, however, was carrying on with that job I fancied, you know, the coffee and brochures job.
Well, I've chosen the tiles and the kitchen, the bathroom, the flooring, the design of it really, and come down once a week to just check on progress, and very, very pleased with the end product.
My role has been looking after the money side of things, checking on the accounts regularly, etc. So it's been a good experience for a first project.
It sounds like a real team effort. By the looks of the house, I think Lynn's done well with the design. So how's Colin done sticking to that £15,000 budget, especially with the unforeseen ceiling issue?
We're pretty well on budget, in actual fact, so we've been very lucky. Again, it's because of the very good builders that we've had.
With the builders delivering on that £15,000 quote and the purchase price of £32,000, Lynn and Colin have invested a total of £47,000. So has their first foray into development been a success? We asked 2 estate agents along to give an appraisal of it.
This is my first visit to the property. It's been very tastefully done, lovely bathroom, nice kitchen, and the views from the upstairs windows over the valley are exquisite.
The new owners said that they were going to knock the bathroom and toilet through, which they have done and made a very big improvement to the property. They've actually done a really good job.
So, having spent a total of £47,000, how much would it be worth were they to sell or rent out the property?
I would place the property on the market for sale at around £65,000 and expect it to fetch anywhere from £57,500 upwards.
I would recommend putting the property up for sale at £64,950.
With rental value, I would place the property on the market for £425 to £450 per calendar month.
And rental value, I would recommend £500 per calendar month.
Well, 500 is marvellous. You know, it's never been Colin's intention to rent it out. But there's certainly really good rental values. We're thinking about if it doesn't sell.
The top rental would mean a yield of nearly 13%, which is certainly a great plan B. However, since their intention is to sell, that top value of £65,000 would give a pre-tax profit of £18,000. So will this just be chalked up to experience, or will there be another project for the pair?
Oh, I'd love to do another one. Yeah, so if this one gets sold, and maybe we could do another one then.
Penkle is a village 4 miles from Stoke city centre and has easy access to the M6. And all those cars owe a debt to Penkle, as it was the home of the inventor of the spark plug.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started.
So what was on offer at the auction? Well, a traditional 2-bedroomed mid-terrace. At a guide price of £50,000 plus. This is it. Looks okay from the outside. In we go. So, not expecting anything too dramatically different. And sure enough, straight off the pavement into your living room. One thing you notice straight away, though, is a few nice touches. Cornicing, I mean, it seems like it's possibly a little bit up from the norm in terms of terraces. And, yeah, some original features still in place. Old fireplace. What is that? That's not something you see every day in a lounge. It's got to be done. Wow! Teleportation device. Quite an unusual feature for a mid-terrace in Stoke. Pretty useful, though. What have we got up here, though? 2 bedrooms, a good-sized one here. Not ideal through it is the location of the bathroom. It looks like it needs a bit of work, but you might have expected that. Good. Wonder if it works both ways. Of course, there are stairs that lead up to the 2 bedrooms for those people that don't have access to teleporters powered by the magic of television. So, what else have we got down here? Well, through to the rear sitting room. That's a pretty impressive fireplace. I like that choice of bricks. It's a little bit overpowering in such a small room, but yeah, it's a good-sized space. And then
This is probably where the property would have ended in its early incarnation, but now an extension has created a kitchen and through that to a downstairs loo. So actually, a lot of space. An unusual house in many respects.
Nothing about you is typical. Nothing about you's predictable.
The issue with this house is how to make it more typical for a would-be renter or purchaser. Normally I'd be jumping for joy at a terrace with 2 bathrooms, but access to both is not great, and I think some major rejuggling is required. And I don't think a shower cubicle in the living room is the answer. Well, at the back of the property, a little courtyard. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You can see this is the extension that contains that kitchen and bathroom. Useful little shed at the end there, a bit more garden there. I mean, it's not massive, but especially if you're renting out a place like this, you want something that's low maintenance, and it certainly ticks those boxes with a bit of additional storage. So all in all, yep, a nice little bonus. This property clearly needs modernisation, but with all that space and a guide price of £50,000, I think this house could be worth a look. We asked an agent from the auction house who sold it to tell us his thoughts.
This property is a really well-proportioned traditional terrace, offers bags of potential to renovate as it is or even reconfigure to perhaps a 3-bedroom property. This property has 2 bathrooms at the moment, one upstairs and one downstairs. It would make total sense to have the property as a 3-bedroom, utilising that bathroom space upstairs and keeping a bathroom downstairs.
Ah, so there may even be scope for a 3rd bedroom. Though if that were the case, I do think something would have to be done about the position of the stairs. How would that affect the values?
Once the renovation has been carried out, in its current layout, as a 2-bedroom property, I'd expect it to be worth £85,000. If the new owner were to renovate and reconfigure and turn the property into a 3-bedroom, I'd happily have it on the market at £100,000. On the same basis, a 2-bedroom property around here would rent for £500 per calendar month, and if it were a 3-bedroom, it would expect to be achieving £550 per calendar month.
Well, what a surprising little property this has turned out to be. In fact, it's been a bit of a star. I'm so pleased I made the trek to come and see it. Let's see who bought it when it went under the hammer.
Lot 76 is a mid-terrace house with 2 bedrooms. 45, can I say? 45 bid in the aisle, thank you, at £45,000. 50, can I say now? At 45. 50 in front of you in the aisle, 50. 55, 55.
This lot came up towards the end of the auction day and was slow but steady. We rejoined the bidding at £70,000.
70 with you in the aisle, sir. At £70,000. Are we all done now? I'll go quick. 70,500, 70 and a half. Are you sure? At £70,500 then. The ladies bid, no mistakes. £70,500 for the first time, £70,500 for the second time, third and final time at £70,500. Your lot, madam, well done.
And the successful bidders were Joanne and her husband Mark, who's a retired police officer. They have 5 children aged 15, 12, 8, 6 and 2-year-old Daniel, who's come along to approve Mum and Dad's 4th portfolio purchase. I chatted to Joanne and Mark while little Daniel watched from the wings. Mark, Joanne, good to meet you both.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell me why you wanted to buy this house.
I think it was the general layout and the opportunity it presented to actually do something with it, to make it different and to perhaps bring it back to life a little bit, really, because it's a bit tired, but it's a really nice classic old house.
Yeah, it is, it's lovely.
An upstairs bathroom as well, which I think was a bonus, wasn't it? Because many of the terraces don't have upstairs bathrooms.
No.
That's right.
So what are the plans for it then?
Well, I think we've worked out a way to get a 3rd bedroom upstairs, to move the bathroom upstairs and to make it a decent-sized 3-bedroom house.
So 3 bedrooms with a bathroom still upstairs?
With a bathroom still upstairs, yeah.
Really? How are you going to do that then?
Right, what we're going to do is, where the bathroom currently sits, that is coming out totally. We're going to put a small shower room into what is now the 2nd bedroom and basically stud a wall off to create a smaller bedroom. So there'll be 1 big bedroom, two singles.
Oh, right.
And that room the bathroom is right now is going to be what?
That will be a bedroom there.
That'll be a bedroom, okay.
Yeah.
And how will you access that without going through the other bedroom?
Right, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create a landing and a hall area to go from the top of the stairs along the back wall there and down to what will be a new opening into the bathroom.
That might sound complicated, but actually it's a really good solution. Mark and Joanne have recognised that a third bedroom is a bonus, and I'm really liking their thinking in not losing that upstairs bathroom. Now, what about those other quirky features in this house? Will they be hanging on to them too, I wonder?
Things like the fireplace behind us, is it going to stay?
My initial thought was no. I actually hated it when I walked into it. It is growing on me very slightly, but yeah, I did hate it when I started. I wasn't sure about Joe.
No, I'm not keen.
Not keen. So it's going to be taken out, is it?
Quite possibly. We've got a bit of an issue with fireplace in the last property because I wanted to take it out, Joe wanted to leave it. We ended up leaving it and ended up getting covered in a soot at the last minute and having to redo all the decor.
After we'd done the whole house.
You did the fireplace after you decorated?
Big mistake. Big mistake.
Yeah.
Note to self.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I hope you're listening at home. Never underestimate how important planning a project is. Otherwise, you could end up with egg, or in Mark's case, soot all over your face. And carpets, and freshly painted walls. Now, you'd think this might have put Mark off, but not a bit of it.
I'm going to try and do most things, really. So the only thing that I don't actually do, I don't touch electrics in any way, shape or form. I'll have a go at windows, I'll have a go at a bit of carpentry.
Really?
Yeah.
What will your sort of involvement be, Joanne?
Well, I think initially, as we did with the last one, we all turned up with the children, didn't we? We've got 5 children. So
wow.
We turned up, the 7 of us, with paint strippers and scrapers, and we stripped the house. So I think we'll get all of them in to start with to get all the walls stripped, and then I'll perhaps hand over.
So a real family effort.
Yes.
Oh, good fun.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel, you might just be 2, but looks like it's time to get your tools at the ready. There should be a healthy profit in this house if they do create that third bedroom, but still there is quite a bit of work to do. Maybe that's why Daniel looks so pensive, or maybe it's because he's checked out Mum and Dad's budget.
So what's the budget for the work?
About 8,000.
Okay. And does that include new kitchen?
But new kitchen, yeah, new kitchen, new bathroom. There's obviously a little bit of damp upstairs that we need to sort out, and mainly it's decor, new doors, and there's a few windows upstairs need replacing, that sort of thing.
And the budget that you've just said, I've got a higher budget than that.
Oh, right.
We did on the last property. You had a much lower budget than me. Perhaps you're more of an optimist.
And who was right last time?
I was last time.
Yeah, you were, yeah.
I was last
What did you say last time?
Last time I said 19, I think.
19?
19 for last.
And what did you say?
I said about 24.
24. And now you're saying 8.
Yeah.
And what are you saying for this
I'm
one?
saying nearer to 12.
Wow. Big discrepancy again. What are you factoring in that hubby isn't?
Nothing, exactly the same, but I'm just giving a little bit more leeway for each.
So it'll be interesting to see who's right.
Yeah, at least you're pleasantly surprised if you do it my way.
Well, yes, exactly. And what's the timescale?
Hopefully about 6 months.
Right. And then see what the market's doing.
Yeah,
and
see what the market's doing there, yeah.
Congratulations anyway.
Okay.
And I wish you good luck. Look forward to seeing how you get on.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think Mark and Joanne have got a great little house here, and possibly more than they bargained for. How will they get on sorting it out? You can find out later in the show.
So we've seen 1 property sorted, but we've got 2 more to check out.
Yeah, how did they get on? Let's find out.
Yes, that wonderful weather can only mean one thing. We're back at the British seaside, the Isle of Sheppey in Kent specifically, to see this 2-bedroom maisonette. With a guide price of 25 to 30,000, it certainly had some positives. There were good-sized bedrooms and double glazing. There was one unusual downside, though.
You're only allowed to occupy this property for 50 weeks of the year, not 52, just 50. And that's because these properties were originally meant to be used exclusively for holiday use.
My little runaway, run, 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 run away.
Whoever was moving in here was going to have to run away for at least 2 weeks of the year. So would that put people off? Not these buyers anyway. Trevor and Janet liked what they saw and bought the maisonette for £36,500 as a home for Janet's son, Jay.
He came to dog sit for us a year ago.
We still got
2
him.
weeks and we've still got him.
You've still got him. He's living at home with you guys.
Yeah.
This property could prove ideal for Jay, providing space for his 2 teenage children to visit.
It's my house and I live here.
Armed with a budget of £4,000 and a timescale of 6 weeks, could Trevor and Janet make it happen? On an ever so slightly calmer day, we've returned to Laysdown-on-Sea to see how Trevor and Janet got on. We're beginning to see how it might look on a day with some sunlight. And it looks like Trevor and Janet are sticking fairly well to their tight time frame of 4 to 6 weeks.
In the last 4 weeks, we've basically taken the kitchen out because we were looking to paint the doors, but they were so cheap and awful that it was easier and looked better to take it out and completely redo it. It's been redecorated throughout. We've still, unfortunately, got to finish off the shower room. We've got the tiles for the floor, but I haven't had time to put them down yet.
Everywhere's had about 4 coats of paint. It's taken an awful lot of paint to do it, apparently.
Yes, it took four coats and 2 undercoats to cover the green and the orange on the coving. So virtually every day for the first 2 weeks, it was coats of paint everywhere.
Since you gotta go, oh, you better go now.
Isn't it always the way? Covering bold colours always takes so many more coats than you think. But if you persevere, I think it's worth it for a lovely finish like this. But the paint was the least of Janet and Trevor's problems in this room.
When we took the kitchen out, behind all the cupboards was a maze of wires here, there and everywhere, bits cobbled onto other bits. So we stripped all of those out, took it back to basics, put in the new kitchen. I retiled it last weekend and I think it looks fabulous now.
And I think you're absolutely right. It's been far from plain sailing, though. Unfortunately, during the development, Trevor has been ill and had to make regular visits to the local hospital. However, Janet's son, Jay, found his skills as a former professional painter and decorator came in very handy for transforming what is to be his new home.
Oh, Jay's been really involved. He's done all the painting and he and his dad put the floor down, didn't they? Because his dad came down and helped on days when Trevor couldn't be here.
The schedule has almost gone to plan. We're now 4 weeks in, and if it hadn't been for the hospital visits and the days lost there, we would virtually have finished everything. The bathroom and everything would have been done.
So, thanks to everyone chipping in, despite Trevor's illness, they're still due to complete within that 4 to 6 week timescale. How have they done sticking to their budget?
We've spent £3,750, which, considering we've put in a new kitchen, is very good because the original budget was about £3,500, and obviously the kitchen has cost a lot more than £250.
Trevor and Janet paid £36,500 for the property at auction and always said they could spend up to around £4,000. So it's good going, staying below that top limit, especially as they couldn't salvage the kitchen. We've asked along 2 local property experts to check out their handiwork.
I think realistically, I think they've pretty much done what they can do. It's very difficult when you've got limited space to sort of really turn it into something different, but they have made the best of what they've got here.
It's been modernised throughout to a good standard. Still bits to finish, but overall a good finish.
Of course, this project has always been about creating a home for Janet's son Jay. But having spent a total of £40,250, what would the property be worth in the sales and rental markets?
I would value this at £50,000. Rental-wise, we would expect to achieve £550 per calendar month.
I believe this property can be marketed at £40,000 to £50,000. I believe that this property could rent between £500 and £550 per calendar month.
Taking the higher valuations would mean a potential pre-tax profit of £9,750 were they to sell, or a yield of over 16% if they were to rent. Now that's a big yield. But this was all about creating a home for Jay. Wasn't it?
We didn't do it with the idea of making a profit out of it, but if that is the end result, can't complain at that.
No, we might throw Jay out then. Just for the profit.
Just for the profit.
Well, she's only kidding, Jay. Honest. You enjoy your lovely new home.
Welcome back to Penkle, a popular suburb of Stoke. We were here to look at a classic two-bedroom terrace. For a guide of £50,000, it had 2 bathrooms, an extension at the back, an overbearing fireplace, and a teleporter in the living room. But we'll keep that to ourselves, otherwise everyone will want one. It was bought at auction by husband and wife Mark and Joanne for £70,500. They were in agreement about what needed doing, just had different opinions on how much it would cost.
Now you're saying 8.
Yeah.
And what are you saying
I'm
for this
saying
one?
nearer to 12.
Wow. What are you factoring in that hubby isn't?
Nothing, exactly the same, but I'm just giving a little bit more leeway for each. At least you're pleasantly surprised if you do it my way.
Well, yes, exactly.
Could be wrong. I could be right.
So with a budget of maybe £8,000, maybe £12,000, depending on who you think is right, and a timescale of an agreed 6 months, Mark and Joanne set out to move the bathroom, add a 3rd bedroom and completely modernise this terrace. Nine months later, and it's time for us to return to see if Mark and Joanne have teleported this terrace into the 21st century. The ground floor's been fully modernised, with a new bathroom replacing the old WC and utility room at the end of the kitchen. In the living area next to the kitchen, that imposing fireplace has been removed and it really opens up the room. Although the ground floor hasn't been reconfigured, the upstairs most certainly has.
Upstairs we've changed it from 2 bedrooms into 3 bedrooms and we've put a small cloakroom in upstairs as well. I was going to put a shower room and a toilet and a sink all in one. I tried desperately to squeeze it in, but there was no way it was going to fit. It was just too big, so I decided to settle for a toilet and a hand basin. The bathroom downstairs is fine, but the problem is if you get up in the middle of the night, the last thing you want to do, especially with children, is we're walking down a flight of stairs through a long, thin house to go to the toilet or whatever. So, yeah, I always wanted to get something up there.
I go out walking after midnight, searching for you.
Well, long walks to the loo in the middle of the night won't be a problem thanks to the upstairs WC. And there have been some other significant changes.
Originally, when you came to the top of the stairs here, there was a solid wall that stretched all the way along there, and there was actually a door here, which was the bedroom door. So actually, you walked directly into the bedroom. So what we've done is taken this wall out to open the whole thing up a little bit, and created a corridor that runs down there and runs off to the 3rd bedroom there, and made it a 3rd bedroom in there itself. So it's sort of opened the whole of the upstairs up quite a bit.
It's always hard to get your head around a reconfiguration, but this has really worked. Stealing space from the big bedrooms allowed Mark to create a lovely open hallway and solve those access issues to the loo. Changing this place was always a big ask, so did father of 5 Mark find time to get stuck in here?
The majority of work has been done by myself and a number of different contractors that I've had in, subcontractors. I think the biggest part of the whole thing was the actual plastering, which was done by some people that I employed. That was a massive job. I never touched anything to do with gas or electrics, anything like that at all. I actually did the plumbing in this house, which is unusual. I don't normally do plumbing, but I did the plumbing of this one. And it started off with not being able to get a plumber in at the right price, really. That's where it all started. And I took it all out, sort of followed my steps back, really, and had it all checked when it was all finished.
Top score for Mark for tackling this and taking the required steps of getting it all checked thoroughly by a professional and properly certified. Not only did he tackle the plumbing, he put in the granite work surfaces and a wall was removed to incorporate the utility area into the kitchen. And with new windows throughout, it all looks good. This place has a really nice finish and they've tackled some pretty big jobs. So who was right about that budget? Mark predicted 8 and wife Joanne said it would be nearer 12,000.
I didn't count on the amount of plastering that was required. I didn't count on the new boiler that was needed. So Joe was much, much closer than I was.
Mark's final spend was in fact £14,000 on top of the £70,500 he'd paid at auction. We've asked along 2 local property experts to see if this money, along with the 9 months' work, has been worth it.
Coming back to the property again, I'm amazed at the transformation. It really is unrecognisable for the better. A fantastic job's been done.
I feel that the configuration upstairs works well for the property. Certainly now the property has 3 bedrooms and a first floor toilet. Certainly appealed to a lot of clients.
Some excellent feedback from our experts. So let's not hang about. Mark has spent a total of £84,500. So what could he expect were he to sell or let the property?
If I were to put this property on the market for resale, I'd be expecting to achieve a figure in the region of £100,000.
In today's market, I would suggest that the property was worth in the region of £95,000.
The top valuation of £100,000 would give Mark and Joanne a potential pre-tax profit of £15,500. What about rentals?
If this property were to be rented out, I'd be expecting to achieve a figure in the region of £525 per calendar month.
In today's market, I would expect the property to achieve in the region of £525 per calendar month.
Mark has some news of his own on the rental front.
It was going to be for sale, but it's actually, I got approached by a lady who wants to rent it straight away, so she's moving in tomorrow.
Despite still having some rooms to finish off, Mark has secured a rent of £550 per calendar month, giving him a yield of almost 8%. Pretty successful, and it sounds as if they'll be doing it again.
Yeah, I think I'd go back to the auction again. I think you do tend to get sort of slightly better price at the auction, and they seem to be the sort of things that I've been after to renovate, really.
Well, that's all 3 properties done and dusted, and all we have time for on today's show.
We look forward to seeing you next time for more Homes Under the Hammer.
Goodbye for now.
Bye.